Yes, so it's time now. So good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to this program, seminar, prize distribution ceremony on creativity, where science meets spirituality. I would wish you a very happy Christmas, and I'm Dipankar Sharma, your host for the day for this event today. So before we start, we'd like to start with an invocation, with a prayer. So I would like all of you to join me in this while I make the invocation. Thank you all. Kadaravindena padaravindam mukharavinde viniveshayantam vatasya patra syapute shayanam balam mukundam manasa smarami. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari He Nath Nara Yan Vasudeva Jive Pivaswamritame Tadeva Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti. So once again, I welcome you all to this seminar on creativity. Respected Honorable Chief Guest, Professor R.V. Rajakumar, Director of IIT Bhubaneswar, distinguished speakers, Shri K. Vasudev Rao, President, Bhaktivedanta Institute, and Shri Varun Agarwal, Director of Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, and all the assembled professors, students, and scholars. So, creativity has been a very interesting aspect from the dawn of various civilizations, from ancient arts, architecture, to modern scientific developments. The research topics of unlocking the science of creativity is very interdisciplinary and multidimensional in nature. The objective of the competition was to bring out thoughts on various aspects of creativity in various fields, from arts, music, science, etc. This topic has tremendous potential to hint on the various facets of reality, touching at the hard edges of science and spirituality. From the last 9 months, Bhaktivedanta Institute Bhubaneswar has organized the Odisha State Students Essay Competition on this topic in 3 categories, in a very broad range from class 5 to until PhD students. In category 1, we have UG, PG, and PhD students. Category 2 consists of class 9 to 12, and category 3 from class 5 to class 8 students. So the essay received from the young minds were very unique and thoughtful to open a new dimension of creativity. So with this, I welcome you all once again, and thank you for being with us today in this appreciation and prize distribution for these young minds. So we'd like to start our program with a presentation on this topic, on the topic of creativity, by Shri Varun Agarwal, Director, Bhaktivedanta Institute. I would like to give a short introduction of Shri Varun Agarwal. He is an alumnus of IIT Kanpur in Aerospace Engineering, 1999, and is currently the Director of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata. He was a recipient of IIT Kanpur's Director's Gold Medal in 1999 for his excellent undergraduate academic record. His research interests include the foundation of science and its possible connection with spirituality. His search for a deeper meaning of life culminated in meeting and taking personal guidance from Dr. T.D. Singh, which completely changed his life, after which he dedicated himself to the cause for selflessly helping humanity. He is the editor of many publications on science and spirituality, including Bhaktivedanta Institute's reputed annual science spirituality journal, Savigyanam, Scientific Exploration for a Spiritual Paradigm. His deep interest in the foundation of mathematics and the nature of consciousness and its relation to the nature of reality as well as ancient Indian texts has led him to interact and meet with renowned scholars at Harvard, Princeton, ETH, Stanford, and MIT. He has given numerous talks worldwide on the foundations of science as well as the foundations of life, mathematics, and spirituality. With this short introduction, I would like to invite our first speaker, Shri Varun Agarwal. Sir, please, you can start now.
Thank you, Dipankar. Namaskar, all the participants here, Professor Raja Kumar, Director IIT Bhubaneswar, and other participants. So you can hear me well?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, well, this is a very exciting and very amazing topic, which all our team, of Bhakti Institute has chosen, and it has tremendous insights to explore. So I'll try to share a few things about this creativity. So here is the presentation is here now. So this is our path today. Overall flow of the presentation, introduction and significance of this creativity, and how creativity is a mystery, attempts to solve the mystery, day science and night science, and the heart of the mystery, or spiritual wisdom, and the synthesis of science and spirituality. So significance, well, what role this creativity plays, which we are all familiar with. Creativity is so today the progress of the whole human civilization, whether progress in science and technology, depends on this very important concept of creativity. Very simple, yet very profound. A simple idea like this is space-time, as you all have heard, the relativity, which Einstein got. A simple concept revolutionized our whole human thinking. We used to think space as a background, and then later it changed to the completely different direction. Like space-time itself it moves. So this idea, this revolutionized the whole human progress. Similarly, many others. So we have, this is a hemoglobin structure, the three-dimensional hemoglobin, which we all do very easily, right? Today, you go to a pathology lab and you give a few drops of blood, and they will give you how much is the hemoglobin count in your blood, right? But the structure of this hemoglobin is a very complex protein molecule, three-dimensional protein molecule. And this person, he got Nobel Prize for deciphering this structure, this one structure. And we have a lot of proteins in our body, different structures, and their structure defines the function of the protein, and then function will define the cell working, and your cell working will connect to your life. So tiny thing, but this discovery made a huge impact. Similarly, in the arts, music, literature, and similarly in mathematics. So these are the progress of our science and technology is tremendously dependent on this creativity. It is a profound thing in our life. So what is creativity actually? To put it simply, uh, a jump in our understanding. Somebody, so we all have some understanding of, suppose, a phenomena, of a concept, or some meaning of something, right? We are exploring or trying to understand. or trying to decipher. But then a jump comes. So that jump in understanding or jump in our way of looking, that comes to put it in a simple way, in a very lump sum, very simple way. This can be called as a creativity. So we have examples like this Poincare, the one of the famous mathematician. He did so much in mathematics. He's a uh, he's father of topology. Means if you see the Poincare conjectures and so much contribution in mathematics. So you see, he says that one day he was just putting his feet on the foot on the bus. Just at that moment, he got the idea. At that moment, having reached contents is the encounter an omnibus to go to some other place. At the moment when I put my foot on the step, the idea came, and then later he worked out that that was connecting to non-Euclidean geometry. So, so we have this jump comes. So this jump, it not only revolutionizes one own understanding, and then the person puts that in the form of logical structure, and then it meant it, for many cases it revolutionizes whole humanity's understanding. And you can see, like we had mathematics. So from normal Euclidean geometry to non-Euclidean geometry, from 3 dimension to higher dimension, it completely revolutionized. First, it revolutionized mathematics, then it comes into the form of physics and the whole understanding theories, and then it develops into further and further and further. But the interesting part is, even today, or after 400-500 years, we have the creativity is still a mystery. How it is a mystery? Let me share. Well, you see, every discovery has a mystery story. So if we want to really understand creativity, you have to go the details of the creativity. Means the person who are undergoing this creative movements, you have to go their story. So we have unlimited stories in our modern science, and in, of course, in literature, in music, in arts, every field. So we are putting more in science side now, but you can go in any field. So once you enter the story, it's actually very exciting and very beautiful how the person gets that. So I'll share you one or two stories, but then you can go in your own journey. There are books like this in mathematics, in physics. There are a lot of books on this. So we have put here the stories. They have put the names: Newton, Einstein, de Broglie, Pascal, Riemann. So some are mathematicians, like Riemann is a mathematician. There are physicists, de Broglie, Pascal, and then Woodward is a chemistry person, and then Towns physicist, then Mullis, the PCR, who got the uh, and this is our mathematician. So how it is a mystery? For example, see the calculus, the famous example of calculus we study in chemistry, right? So now in our times when we study chemistry, we directly study this all structure like benzene molecule, the cyclic benzene molecule. But when before it was discovered the structure, earlier the thought was that our structure of the compounds are like a linear structure, right? So the Kekule, he got 2-3 times his dream while sitting near the fire, like in Western world, lot of cold, and then you have fire, Then you sit down, and then while sitting, he dozes, and then he gets this idea. So that some snake is biting, and then it comes 2-3 times. So he get the idea: can this structure, the bonding, can it be circular instead of just linear, which we think? So once he gets his idea, he put that in form of bonds, and then this revolutionized the whole our organic chemistry. So then you have compounds that this kind of bonding is possible. But this is mysterious because how he got the idea, from where he got the idea, that is a mysterious. Even today, Similarly, we have lasers. This is Charles Towns. He got Nobel Prize in Physics. This is our founder of Bhakti Institute. He met him and he was discussing with him that how he got this idea about laser. So Towns said, "Yeah, I was thinking about it, and one day I was sitting in a park, and suddenly I got it." And then while talking to him, to Dr. Singh, he was himself getting astonished. Actually, how I got that idea? I am now. Then he started thinking, "That's how these ideas come from." So he was saying that this revelation is really part of our life, part of science, but we don't talk about it at all. So uh, he was, and then another example is our Enrico. We met him a couple of years ago in Princeton. He's a mathematician. So he was mentioning that you suddenly get a whole landscape of the whole landscape beforehand, before you go to the path. You get the whole idea if like a flash, and then you get a confidence and you move forward in that journey. So they wonder basically the mystery, how this comes, and so there have been a lot of attempts to solve this mystery, of course. Means there are a lot of models we have. If you go into in the neuroscience, in the psychology, in all the disciplines, we have a lot of models of creativity. But in essence, the basic process which they try to decipher of creativity is like preparation, the conscious hard work, the incubation, the non-conscious processing, illumination, the insight, and the verification. Then you verify it. So there's a preparation and there all this general. There are details into it, but we are not going into it. Like in neuroscience, we have a model, Gall-Mobius model. Then in psychology, we have a lot of theories of creativity, but the issues are there. The foundational issue is uh, from where the new idea comes. That's the foundation. That's a mystery. So like our Jacob, who got Nobel Prize in medicine, he put it in a way called day science and night science. Means you get day science means the logical side of creativity, the logic part. You can prove argument A to B, B to C, all this. But the other side called insight, the night side, which are not put in public, which are not known. So both are important. But for example, this Gauss, the code there, he had the result. I have the result, but not yet know how I arrived at it. And then you later you worked and find out the logical structure of proving it, that this is how it is. So this is the heart of the mystery of this creativity, that among all the process of preparation, incubation, the insight part, the eureka part, that part is actually the crust, the mystery. Means how I get it. The kind it's if you put in in a form of mathematical function, it's like a discontinuous function. So that discontinuity is a mystery. And people say that when you talk to the researchers, when we meet them uh, around the world, currently and in the past, from the books you see, that there's some kind of a mysterious communication at that moment, a correspondence, some from somewhere. At that moment you get very clear idea, very precise, very clear, and you are fully confident this is it. And then after a few moments, then you work out the details. They put it in the form of a logical structure. So that mysterious communication is the heart of the mystery of the creativity. In our Eastern tradition, from Indian spiritual tradition, uh, what it describes is that in reality, we have a gross matter, the subtle matter, our mind intelligence, and the soul. And life is a product of physical body, the body which we can touch, the mind which we think, other than the physical brain, the intelligence, the logic, the false ego and the spirit, the soul, or whatever you say. The spiriton is the word used by our founder, spiriton, for the soul. So creativity in our spiritual tradition is defined as is a combination of this. There's a brain part involved. Brain should be sound, or at least workable condition. And then mind, the thoughts and imagination is involved. The logic is involved. But the most crucial part is that there is an insight given by the Supreme, the God to the living being, which is really called the mysterious correspondence. So there's a verse in our Vedanta that Sarvasya Chaham Hida Sannavishto Mata Smriti Jnanam Aponam Cha. I am sitting in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So the correspondence comes from Supreme. That is described further that whatever guidance we get in our life, whether the scientist or a small bird from one continent to moving to another continent, or somebody writing a very philosophical commentary, or a tiny ant, everybody is guided by him, by the Supreme. So, like our Gauss, the famous mathematician who gave so much in mathematics, he said, finally, 2 days ago, I succeed, not on account of my painful efforts, but by the grace of God. Like a sudden flash of lightning, the riddle happened to me solved. So that's a beauty that at that moment, the person realizes, well, I have been given, I got it. Not that I worked it. That at least that few seconds, he realizes yes, and he becomes very grateful. Gratitude means you know that something has been given to you, not something you have done at that moment. And then after a few seconds, you come back to your normal life, and well, this is it. Of course, this happiness has a role there. One who is jolly, it helps to be creative, and also after getting creative idea, you also become very happy. So our request is, our proposal is, and as the thoughtful people around the world have put it, same thing, that in order to explore this creativity, the synthesis of science and spirituality is utmost necessary. That way, we can fully understand, grasp, and also help ourselves to be more aligned in these terms of creativity. So, thank you very much. Our gratitude to all our colleagues, our team, our students who have been working hard to put this event together, and Dr. Singh, the visionary, the founder of an institute, Bhakti Institute, who who wanted this topic, and then the Supreme Lord, the real giver of our creativity, and our congratulations to all our essay winners. I just try to give a short glimpse. I think a lot of wisdom will flow from our Professor R.V. Rajakumar, and from our my other colleagues and our students. I will look forward to hearing all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri Varun Agarwalji, for your very insightful and thoughtful presentation. Thank you so much. And I'd just like to remind our participants that you can use the feature in Zoom to show your appreciation, because we'll need this later when we distribute our certificates to the participants. So with this, now we have a very special lecture, a very special speech or address by our chief guest. We are very fortunate to have among us Honorable Professor R.V. Rajakumar, Director IIT Bhubaneswar. So before I welcome him for the speech, I would like to give a very short introduction of him. Honorable Professor R.V. Rajakumar has been serving as the Director of IIT Bhubaneswar since 2015. He received his BE degree, jointly topping all branches of engineering in 1980 from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam, MTech and PhD degrees in 1982 and 1987, respectively, from IIT Kharagpur in electronics and communication engineering. At an early age since 1984, he has been serving as a professor of electronics and communications engineering at IIT Kharagpur. His areas of research interests include digital signal processing, wireless communications, detection and estimation, and VLSI system for communications. He has over 160 research publications in reputed international journals and conferences, and has supervised the thesis of over 140 students at different levels. He made significant contributions to technology development through prestigious national projects, from developing the first ever torpedo to cognitive radio of DRDO. Apart from his research, technical education is also of his interest, and made very significant contribution in institutions of national importance. Like earlier in 2010 to 15, he served as the vice chancellor, the first vice chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technologies, Hyderabad. In addition, over the last decade, he was instrumental in bringing up important academic reforms in IIT Kharagpur, IIT Bhubaneswar, and several other national institutes. He has also been serving on the governing boards, advisory boards, and national committees of numerous reputed institutes, organizations, and government departments, and has been helping in providing active guidance and sharing his vision. He was also instrumental in the initiation of the INDST consortium. So with this very short introduction, I'd like to welcome Professor R.V. Rajakumar, sir. We are very fortunate to have you, and all our students and all of us, we are very eager to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Dipankar. Sri Varun Agarwal, Sri Rao, if in case he is there, other esteemed participants on today's morning event, very especially all the youngsters who won awards and who in the essay competition conducted by the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and others who are going to make presentations at the present juncture. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to be with you all today morning. It was heartening. It is heartening to note that you conducted an essay competition to amongst 3 different categories of people. I'm not an expert in the area of spirituality. It's not an easy topic either to understand it fully and its connection with other manifestations. Certainly to give such a topic to students of class 5 to class 8 poses a big challenge to them. Maybe it goes beyond for many. However, it is interesting to know about how an youngster reacts when such a topic is given. And certainly we should not underestimate the capacity of youngsters. And I certainly appreciate you posing this kind of challenge to youngsters to ponder about and to see how they react and what thoughts they put forward. So the topic is certainly interesting, thought-provoking, and very challenging, as I mentioned. If possible, I would also like to see how the different categories of participants have reacted to this topic. If there is a summary of or an extract of what the youngsters have expressed about. So I would also like to certainly go through and learn from that about how their thought process, the cognitive process went on this present topic. Certainly, as Sri Varun mentioned, the creativity is certainly mind-related. It can be stimulated by different means. and it is boundless. The creativity can be scientific creativity, and a creation can be scientific, can be of an art form, and as a subset of that, it can be even a human gesture. Certainly, the educational planners at educational institutions of different levels of education system wonder about how to institutionalize the aspect of creativity and inculcating the traits of creativity amongst students and our youth, if I generalize it. We do it in certain ways. So it is successful with some in some way. It may be successful with others in a different way. It goes on like this. Many a time, the creativity or an expression of creation comes while solving a problem, taking up a problem. When you apply yourself to a problem-solving exercise, your mind to a problem-solving exercise, you think about the problem, use the power of the mind, and try to find a solution. Solutions can be many, and each person may come out with a solution. And if it is in certain domains of science, so the thinking is confined to certain laws and phenomena, and one tries to find a solution. The advantage in such cases is the prior knowledge of the world comes in the form of your literature, and you can attempt a problem and solve a problem. So it is certainly the such creative outcomes are problem-based. Number of techno-scientific creations have come while attempting, has come out because of an attempt on the attempt to solve a problem. We do find later on a different solution to the problem, a better solution to the problem. At times, we may also disprove a hypothesis put forward as an exercise of a creativity. You may come out with some philosophical statement, and somebody else may come with a counter argument and show some, certainly some reasoning, give some reasoning in explaining the same. It means that a creative exercise need not be the true reality, but in certain domains of constrained realities and constrained environment, truly it may be applicable even. I just want to also mention that it can be. So it need not be the ultimate reality. The creativity, a creative item need not be a reality, certainly. There are even scientific creations which have come out and stimulated or come out by a mysterious communication, as Varunji said. If I recall, while working on my PhD thesis, so for a small problem, a part of my thesis, I got a solution in my dream. That's very uncommon, but it so happened that way. I cannot also say some big thing is responsible for it, but maybe it's a communication, I'm not sure. A mysterious communication, I'm not sure, but to look at it, certainly it looks like one. But anyway, let me not go into how it has happened, but there are a number of scientists who have expressed their creativity as an outcome of some kind of or an internal stimuli. An internal stimulus can also can generate a thought in the mind, and a creative outcome can come. If you go to the other human aspects of creativity, We have instances where poets are inspired by nature, and what comes out is in the form of some thoughts and some expression in a poetic form, or in the form of a song, or in the form of some description. So certainly some stimulus to the mind creates the outcome in the form of creativity. With inspirations from nature, with inspirations within human beings, and the mammals and are also a part of the nature, which itself is, we believe, as a creation. So the creations do inspire people, and it can further act as a stimulus for a creative piece, a creative outcome. And outcome is boundless. It can be an art form, so it can be a scientific form, or it can be even other forms of the humanity. So therefore the problems can create, and inspirations in different form can cause creative outcomes, and that may include even sufferings. So we also say another necessity is the mother of invention. So necessities also can manifest in the form of creative outcomes. I'm sure creativity as an outcome is not only limited to what I have just now mentioned, it can come out in different forms, in different other situations as well. Now, people like us, I would like to mention that for creativity to come, it is not necessarily, but it is important for the mind to be free. I wouldn't like to say that a constrained mind cannot be creative. No. But by and large, for creativity to come in its very fine form, you need to have the conducive atmosphere and certainly an ecosystem. The mind should be largely free. And even if a mind is, I do not mean to say that is always true, even if a mind is constrained by the thoughts of a problem, creativity can still come up. But for creativity to come out, very often we need time and space. We need certainly time. Time is essential, that the mind can utilize a given time and freely exercise its own job, do the exercise by itself, and creativity can come. So creativity does need some time usually. So which the high-speed world do seem to be ignoring. So we need to provide time and space for the creativity to come out of an individual. Now, institutionalizing creativity is a very, very, very big topic. Many of us are work on this topic. Our thinking goes endlessly, and certainly it has not matured into a form of a theory. I would say that it is at the stage of discussions. We do have some of our opinions of how to institutionalize creativity. What I normally propose to my young teachers at IIT Bhubaneswar, even otherwise, in unleashing the traits towards making or developing that kind of traits amongst our students to be creative individuals are as follows. You pose a problem to a student and leave it for a student himself or herself. Let their mind work on it, provide that much of time, and let us listen to what they come out with. So, posing the thought-provoking ideas and problems to youngsters is one way we can stimulate their mind in working out with solutions. It can also be for creative writing. It can also be for creative dramatics and even poetry and things and other things as well in this direction. For scientific creativity, also the same thing can be done in the domain of scientific creativity as well. So in a laboratory, in a classroom, too, if you pose problems and invite answers from the youngsters, the students, then at least from a fraction of them, there will be some creative outcomes coming. Therefore, what we do is to pose again some ideas and inviting solutions from them is one way by which we can certainly encourage creativity among students. Same thing can happen in a theory classroom as well. So during the interactions, one can pose questions. In fact, when I go to my classroom a number of times, I pose a question first and ask my students to respond to it. In the process, though it is new to them because of the power of the mind, they come out with 30 to 40% of what I wanted to teach is obtained from the floor of the classroom itself. So a creative mind can work on this, and at least 30 to 40% of what I want to teach in the classroom is taken from the floor itself. So that is one way to make the stimulate a student's mind to think about and given a problem. Then what I do is I give the rest of the lecture after such after the first exercise. This is just only one example. If you talk to some teachers who are seniors and what kind of mechanisms you have, and put this question about what kind of mechanism you have adopted in your classroom for so many decades to stimulate creativity amongst the students, I'm sure you will get a very delightful and very enlightening answers from the life's experiences of many teachers who have, particularly those who are known to be very effective in teaching. So in a place like laboratory, if you provide some freedom to experiment, and if you encourage students to come out with their own solutions, that would certainly create a mind. In a student gymkhana, where you pose some problem, hold competitions and ask them to come, please come out with a creative item about students' life at IIT Bhubaneswar. Certainly that will make them think about it, and the students can come out. If not all, a fraction would come. I just mentioned a few examples of how to institutionalize the encouragement towards creativity. And so you will find many more examples if you talk to other colleagues. So this is just example of whatever is coming to my mind. I'm just expressing it. These are some of the things which I can immediately think of and express it this way. For example, dance is an expression. So expression in the form of gestures with the grammar imposed by that particular dimension does make people creative. About 5 to 6 years back, we started dance training as a course at IIT Bhubaneswar. We teach science and technology at the IIT, And we provide informal training on socio-cultural aspects through technology student Gymkhana in our endeavor to prepare personalities. But adding courses like this, where it adds an extra dimension, a different dimension of expression through gestures in a given grammatical framework, like put forward by, let's say in this instance, Odissi dance grammar. So it would enlighten our students and train our students to be expressive through gestures. And similarly, music is another way to do it. We also do have musical forms where wilder thoughts can be expressed. But if you look at the long-term music that has been time-tested and put into practice, most of them are very stress-busting to the mind, and they have the power to reduce the stress as well. So certainly creative items not only reduces one's own the stress, it can also help in reducing the stress of others. We can make others get lost in the world for some time to a different world of imagination and enlightenment and experiencing an elated mind through some creative forms. So mostly the humanities aspects of creativity have that kind of power. I wouldn't say that no, it's not applicable for scientific discoveries and inventions too. So make us amazed about how the person thought about it and how one has come out with this kind of creative outcome, a particular kind of creative outcome. So we do institutionalize from ages the encouragement of creativity in different forms. But it is important that every institution give this opportunity to youngsters. So lastly, I would like to summarize in the form of a message that we need to provide the time and space for our youngsters, for unleashed, to help their mind to be unleashed and the unleashed creativity, to make them unleash their own creativity and opportunity for them to be creative. And there lies a lot of value for the society, and certainly our future generations should be creative individuals. Then we should also try to do our best in institutionalizing in our own way and encouraging creativity amongst our youth. And the society should have time in this internet world, should spend some time doing making their mind exercise in whatever form they would like to create. Even in leading one's own life, one can use creative aspects. So with this expression of few thoughts of myself, I would like to thank Sri Jitan Dalji and Bhaktivedanta Institute for giving me an opportunity to participate in this event, and also for giving me an opportunity to express a few thoughts of myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Professor Rajakumarji. We are very glad that we could hear these encouraging words from you, and I'm sure all of our participants and students are highly motivated to explore and stimulate this creative side of theirs. Thank you for sharing your personal experiences and also a few ideas where we could work on, and we'll try to make this maybe a next competition for students to prove or disprove hypothesis. Thank you so much. With this, now we move ahead to our next and I think very mostly awaited segment of our program today is prize distribution. And so we have three categories, as I mentioned, category 1, 2, and 3. I would be reading out the names and displaying the certificates. And at the same time, I would like to request our our chief guest to express a few words of appreciation to our participants. So first of all, we have the third prize in category 1, Miss Nivedita Panda, MSc second year Environmental Science, Fakir Mohan University, Odisha, and she has secured a third position and is awarded a sum of 2,500 in this category. Yes.
So congratulations to Ms. Nivedita.
Thank you, sir. So also, again, I would like to remind our participants to use the Zoom feature to react. Thank you. And next we have second position in this category, Ms. Om Shreya Sahu. She is a student of BSc second year Botany Honors, Smart Gurukul Degree College, Navrangpur, and she receives a prize of 5,000 rupees.
Yeah, congratulations, Om Shreya.
Thank you so much, sir. And the first prize for the category 1, UG, PG, and PhD goes to Ms. Satvati Das, UG first year, Ravenshaw University, Cuttack, and she receives a prize of 10,000 rupees in this category.
So congratulations, Ms. Satvati. So please come to IIT Bhubaneswar sometime and visit our institute.
Thank you so much, sir. So, and then we quickly move on to our next category, category 2. And here we have Ms. Mushkan Agarwal in third prize for this category. And she is a class 12 student from Sai International School, Bhubaneswar. And she receives a prize of 1,000 rupees.
Congratulations, Mushkan. Please keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
And in second position, we have Ms. Bhumika Mohanty from class 11, also Sai International School, Bhubaneswar, and she receives a prize of 2,000 rupees.
So congratulations to you too, Ms. Bhumika. So please keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And for the first prize in this category, we have Ms. Sanskruti Purohit. She is a student of class 11 from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Jharsuguda, and she receives a prize of 4,000 rupees.
So excellent, Samskruti. Congratulations for winning the first prize. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now quickly go to the third category. We have 3 more names to announce, and these are in the third position, we have Ms. Sai Mahima Malik from class 7. She's a student of class 7 from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Surangi Ganjam, and she receives a prize amount of 500 rupees.
So congratulations, Sai Mahima. So keep it up. I had a pleasant experience with students from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas.
I myself also a student of Jawahar.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And in the second position, we have Mr. Krish Vasani. He's a student of class 8 from Kanchan Jaya Public School, Udyamband, and he receives an amount of 1,000 rupees in this category.
So congratulations, Krish. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you.
And the last name for this event is Miss Pragati Pradhan. She achieves the first position in this category, and she's a student of class 7 from, again, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Tarabha, Subarnapura, and she receives a cash of 2,000 rupees.
So congratulations, Pragati. There is development in your name itself.
Thank you, sir.
I think you should work towards the development of the mankind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and appreciation to all our participants. I'm sure this would be very encouraging for all the students who are aspiring to, get admitted to IITs and other institutes. Thank you so much. So now quickly we'll have a group photo session with all of our participants present here. So I would like to request all our participants to kindly switch on their video, and our volunteers would take a screenshot and would be kept as a memory for our future. So yes, we could turn on our video, put on a smile, and we can have a group picture. Yes, there are more and more people turning on the video. So meanwhile, I'd like to request our volunteers to click pictures. I think we have almost 199 participants, but I do not see many of our faces here. So please feel free to switch on your video and put on a smile. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being present with us today here. And now we'll move forward in our event. And now we have a cultural program, just to get a bit of refreshment. After this, we'll have presentations from students. So it's a classical Odissi dance by Krishna Priya Devidasi. And she is a student disciple of Guru Pratap Narayan and Srimati Kunjalata Mishra, and from Venunath Kala Kendra Vrindavan. So So thank you so much to Krishna Priya, and I hope all of us enjoyed this performance. So moving on, next up we have the overview of the entries of all the essays which we received. And this would be given by Sri Siddharth Tiwari, Assistant Professor, Indira Gandhi Institute of Technology, Odisha. So I'd like to welcome Sri Siddharth Tiwari. Please, you can have the floor now.
Thank you, Dipankar. And I humbly express my pranam to Professor R.V. Raja Kumarji, Director IIT Bhubaneswar, Shri Varun Agrawalji, Director Bhaktivedanta Institute, and Shri K. Vasudev Raoji, President of Bhaktivedanta Institute, and always our inspiration for these kind of events and activities, our Dr. K.D. Singh ji. Apart from this, I thank you all these organizing committee, those who have given me opportunity to be a member, one of the members in the jury for this deciding this whole number of students entries to who will be the first, second, and third. And I'm honestly speaking, it was the most difficult task for all of us, because when we are talking about the creativity, every single entry what we have received was very creative. So whoever is not got the prize, or whoever is thinking that he is second or third or first, so for our end, let me clarify you, it is just a formality. I will believe that every single entry in this competition was equally good. And so let me first inform all of you that what we have taken into account in deciding the first, second, and third prize. So our major distribution of marks was based on the quality and originality of the content. We also looked into the clarity of the whole essay, and then its structure and flow, and then we did thought of overall impression of how it is made in the writing. So I have gone through all of the entries, and as in the discussion by Professor Rajakumar ji, and what he is mentioning that that he was thinking, was telling that how the young minds, they have expressed about creativity. To be very honest, when we were about to organize this event, the same thought I also had, that if at this age, if somebody asked me to write about the creativity, how will I write, and how the students, even from this very big, I mean, small classes, from 5th to 8th category, and then and like 8, 9 to 12th category, and then college level. And I would like to read few lines what I have taken from those entries. So now, I am happy to acknowledge Om Shri Sahu. And let me add one more thing before coming to this point, that most of the first, second, third prize, there are 9 entries, and out of 9 there are 8 girls. So I think we should give a round of applause to all the creative girls of our Odisha state. The first thing that I would like to mention about I will share even this, I will email this essay to Professor Raja Kumarji to look into that how Satvati Das has presented the essay in a very creative form. She has beautifully write every single every single like topics and the headings in different colors. The way she's expressing the creativity, not only words, even by her presentation also. So this attracted me a lot. So I congratulate Satvati, and she has scored the first prize in this whole event in her category of college level. Now, I would be happy to read a few points. Like Om Shri, she writes like, this beautiful world is a magnificent creation of God. So look at the like thinking of these students, like if we are talking about the creativity, so the creativity that connects like how the God might have created this beautiful world. So this is like the deep thinking that goes for the creativity to that level. Again, if I come to the Sanskriti from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya from Jharsuguda, she is writing her views like what quantum mechanics teaches us in that is that everything we thought of was physical is not physical. Like she is at this level talking about the quantum mechanics when she has to express the creativity of science, that the quantum mechanics, when we talk about, we think about everything is physical, but it is actually not. So this is how the quantum mechanics is being correlated in these entries. Again, if I come to the Muskan Agrawal, and she says that creativity lies at the heart of innovation and is the coefficient of imagination of a society. So this coefficient of imagination, this kind of words what we are collecting from this essay. So, and apart from that, there are all other entries. Like I would also like to mention one of the entries from in the category of 5th to 8th class, where the Krish Vasani, he has used the quotation of Gandhi, and this is very important at this very moment, that if both science and spirituality go hand in hand, then one can create heaven on the earth. The creativity of heaven on the earth. So, and about science, spirituality, and our and a leader, public leader like Gandhi, like he has been introduced in the science and spirituality paradigm. So I mean, all these things were like all when I was going through all these entries, it was totally a very creative points learn as a learning for me. So I enjoyed a lot these entries. I congratulate every single participant. They may be in this picture of 1, 2, or 3, or may not be in the picture of 1, 2, or 3. But every single entry was really learning for all of us. And as suggested by Professor Raja Kumarji, uh, I will make an abstract. I will make a summary and will share to every single person. Even the world should know that that how our the young minds, they are spiritually oriented, and they have a scientific consciousness also in their mind right from their birth, like from their early age of life, and how this the future of India is going to be. So I again thank you every single participant in this competition, all the participant in this event, and a special thanks to Professor Raya Kumarji, who has inspired us, all of us, and given time to us for this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was very exciting the way you presented the abstract from this. And yes, thank you so much for preparing it for us. And we're looking forward to your summary on this. So now moving ahead, we have the exciting part now where our students will present their presentations from all the categories. So I would like to first invite, if Sai Mahima is around here, to present herself. Sai Mahima Malik, are you around? If not, we can come back later on. Okay, yeah. So I think she was here before, but now we might have some issue. So we'll go to our next participants from category 3. We start from category 3 actually. Chris Vasani, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you can unmute yourself or also switch on your video. Thank you so much. You can start now.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to tell about some points about the science meets spirituality. in every aspects of our life, turning in a prayer to this governing infinity principle can bring fresh God derived inspiration and ideas. It can help us find better ways to settle problems at home, run business, teach school, prepare new recipes, address the myriad issues facing our communities, and even contribute to addressing the larger problem of the world. The most of the tend to confuse spirituality with religion. Religion is based scriptures. A certain teaching has limits, has rules and laws prescribed. It guides us to the way of life, and there is a boundary, a course of rigidity which a religion provides. Spirituality is an attitude that is positive and looking at the best in everyone and everything. Spirituality is an inner journey, discovered inner peace, and is all about expanding our capability to live, love, and learn. Spirituality is the process of balance between dharma and karma. Spirituality is the process of self transformation from impure conscious to pure consciousness to achieve inner peace, happiness, and prosperities. Spirituality it itself is extremely scientific because it wants to examine the world and its nature just like a scientist. Spirituality is a very scientific, and then spirituality goes beyond science. Thank you. There are some. These are some points about. These are some main points about science with spirituality in my answer.
Thank you so much, Krish, for sharing your views on this. Uh, Next up, we have
Thank you.
Mushkan Agarwal from category 2, class 9 to 12. Mushkan, are you around?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You can unmute, switch on your video and you can proceed.
Good afternoon. I'm Muskan Agarwal and I'm here to speak a few lines on creativity, science meets spirituality. The history of creativity dates back to the dawn of human civilization. Until the medieval period, humanity expressed its creativity in the fields of arts, crafts, literature, architecture, and religion. The expansion of human creativity has resulted in the subtle understanding of nature, but still, an ocean of secrets are yet to unfold. Creativity has spanned each and every field of human knowledge. One of its striking features observed in the founders of science is the sudden revelation of some functions of nature during their pre discovery meditative times. The present witnessed progress of humanity is the cumulative result of creativity of the great gifted through leaders of previous generations. Like Swami Vivekananda said, you have to grow from inside out. None can teach you, make you spiritual. There are no teachers but your own soul. Creativity is defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves and others. It is the ability of a person or a group to make something new and useful or valuable. Scientific creativity is the capacity to have novel, original, and useful adaptive ideas in the domain of natural and social sciences. It is more constrained by the real world. Mathematical creativity is described as an ability to analyze a given problem from a different perspective, see patterns, differences, and similarities, generate multiple ideas, and choose the proper method to deal with unfamiliar mathematical situations. The ways in which society has perceived the concept of creativity have changed throughout history, as has the term itself. The creative process model has traditionally been broken down into the following five stages of creativity: preparation, incubation, insight, evaluation, and elaboration. Creativity comes out of the necessity to solve problems. It comes anytime we need to question the rules, status quo, or even ourselves. It comes from many sources, including socializing, problem solving, and play. So, where does creativity actually come from? Simple. It comes from each of us and our interactions with life, the universe, and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mushkan, for your presentation. Next up, we have Bhumika Mohanty. Bhumika, are you around?
Yes.
Yes, you may
May I
proceed.
start the screen sharing?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put in presentation mode and then you can start. Please go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bhumika Mahante, and let's get to the presentation. So, what are the strengthening factors that influence a person to be creative?
Bhumika, can you enhance the volume a little bit?
Yeah, let me try. Hello,
Yes.
is it audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So, the strengthening factors that influence a person to be creative: a problem, self belief, willingness to explore, immense knowledge, and courage to reattempt if it goes all in vain. So, one might think how knowledge and belief are the key factors of creativity. Knowledge is the foundation of everything. Without having the basic knowledge and knowing the facts, one wouldn't know what to question, how to create, and where to start. For example, a well-versed lawyer, when put in a problematic or diplomatic situation, can easily find loopholes to close the deal. Belief is not just an usual concept everyone think it is. For example, if Isaac Newton thought of the apple falling incident as just an ordinary natural surrounding happening around us, then he wouldn't know that he could discover something such as gravitation. If he didn't believe in himself. Spirituality has indefinite meanings and inexplainable feeling. Altogether, it is the sense of belief one has that there is something greater than just tangible things. For example, spirituality has the basic aspect that spirituality is it that delivers self confidence and self belief in a person. On the other hand, science is the building ability of knowledge and facts altogether that leads to inventions and discoveries. Spirituality gives us the strength and courage and belief to overcome the failure and courage to reattempt and start again if creativity and science altogether fails and doesn't produce expected results. So, spirituality keeps us connected with science and creativity and keeps us committed to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your beautiful presentation and with the slides. Thank you so much. Next, we have Sanskriti Purohit. If you're around, please, you can start now.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, sir. So may I start presenting? Please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, you can start. You can share. Are you able to share the screen?
Please wait a moment, sir.
Yes. So you can just share the screen and select on the window where you have the presentation.
Okay, sir. Actually, I'm not able to get the document, so I'm sharing the screen.
Sure. Also, just meanwhile, I'd like to request all other participants who have a PPT, please be ready, open your presentation, keep it in presentation mode, and you can just directly share. Yes, now we can share screen. You can just make it a presentation view and you can start. Yeah, it just below here, down here, you can see this, or you can just press maybe F5 to start. Yes. Are you able to do this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm able to do it.
Yeah. From beginning. Yeah. Sure. Thanks. You can start.
Okay, so namaskar to everybody, honorable delegations present over here, and all the winners. So good morning to one and all present over here. And this is Sanskriti Purohit from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Jharsuguda, and I am participant in the second category. And now I study in class 11th, science. So today we have got the discussion topic on creativity, science meets spirituality. So before I start, I just want to share one of my experience that when I was preparing for this essay, actually I was going through some of the articles that I got in the newspaper, and then I got an incident about the Chandrayaan mission. So I just sat back and mull over the fact that the chairman of ISRO, K. Sivan, was offering his prayers at Tirupati temple before the vehicle launch of the second mission of Chandrayaan for its success. So this gives us a question that why such an efficient, renowned, both nationally and internationally acclaimed scientific organization needs grace from God for its success, right? So that is why I put up the means quote from Bruce Lipton that sir already told, that what quantum physics teaches us is that everything we thought was physical is not physical. That is a line that I got from Bruce Lipton, and that made me think. So let me start the abstract that your imagination feeds your ideas. The world we see today was far from a dream eons ago. It was the creativity of people which has brought us till here today. Have we stopped? No. Are we going to stop? No. Then why are we going in the wrong direction of development, paving our way to wholesome catastrophe? Certainly, something is missing in our intrinsic strategy. Maybe it is the positivity in our creativity. So, we must know the definition of creativity. It's analyzing factors on which it depends, etc., to make it actually positive. And spirituality will do the rest. Faith is the thing which is missing in our imagination and actions. Science was never made to destroy, rather, it was discovered to develop and uplift civilizations. Today, the backbone of science has been shaken because spirituality has been dismissed from the thoughts of people. Is it right or wrong to get science and spirituality together in creativity? That is one of the most difficult questions to answer now. So let us start from factors which affects thoughts and ideas among people. So every person has his or her individual idea and way of expression, which is distinct and unique from others. And there are certain factors which affect it. So first one is the age factor. In an estimation, an average person can create something out of nothing depending on his or her psychological approach and ability. The way he thinks affects the way he creates. So we can learn about it. Just give a mold of soil to a little kid and ask him to do anything what he wants to do with it. He will surely create something out of it, and that can make you very happy, and it will make you surprised enough to think that how such a little kid can think so creatively. So that is the age factor. A senior person will do something more greater than that because his psychological approach is much greater. And but one thing that misses in the adult person nowadays is the innocence, which we are going to talk about it later. Second is the demand factor. As they say, the need of the hour means necessity is the mother of creativity. This is a very popular line all of you must have heard. So local lifestyle and the local environment just pushes you to create something to ease the way of living, and that gives a boost to science. Obviously we all know about it. That may be for the economical development, like basic necessities at comfort level, domestic level, for luxury, or modernization at different sectors for strategic, commercial, or social development. The third one is the education factor. So as they say, the more you're educated, the better version of a system you provide. So if a system is in its primitive version, education will make you enable, it will make you enable to develop it better and to create a marvelous workforce for your own country, because you can create a much better version of the primitive system. So here we will listen some of the wise words from Bruce Lipton. That is, what quantum physics teaches us is that everything we thought was physical is actually not physical. So my mates who are present over here from class 9th, they must have heard that yes, Bohr had taught us that electrons move around orbits. But my dear friends, when you will reach to 11th class, I'm sharing my own personal experience that this was very difficult for us to approach that actually electrons are present in the electron cloud, and we cannot find the exact coordinates from them because they move everywhere, and we only get to know about its probability. So this means give us the idea that God is omnipresent, electron is omnipresent. You can tell like that. It's quite funny and it's quite interesting too. So what's in spirituality? What is the importance of spirituality? In the simplest,
please conclude in a minute.
okay, sir, please. Yes, sir. In the simplest of words, spirituality is a synonym for hope. As Varun Agarwal sir had already told us, a leap in our thoughts and thinking. That is spirituality. That is the hope we get. If we believe, we begin. So that's his spirituality. Spiritual belief of a person encourages us to think more rationally in a human way and to achieve positivity in our creativity. So here we are going to see the pictures of three renowned science means personalities, and they have given us example of spirituality. First one, Maharshi Kanad. We must all have known him, that Maharshi Kanad found out the atomic theory. He took out pieces of bread and said that a time will come when you cannot separate it anymore further. Sir C.V. Raman saw the means scattering effect while going in for a voyage in Mediterranean Sea. René Descartes, he was looking at the sky, looking at the constellation. He was sleeping in his room, looking at the ceiling, and then he thought, I could create a coordinate plane out of it. Exactly like that. That's your thinking. So why spirituality is misunderstood? This is one of the most important aspect to be understood. Toxicity drives people to relate spirituality with religious aspect, which is widely criticized. People forget that spirituality is the individual faith of a person, whereas religious beliefs are shared by a whole community. And we can take the example of Rig Veda, the study of Ayurveda, yoga. This could be considered as this perfect amalgam of science and spirituality, which is literally the basis of modern development in science. So let these words echo in your minds. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Martin Luther King Jr. had told that. So why such a line? Because he knows that when our spirituality will demolish, then we will go towards war. So let us foresee the brighter side of future. Fiction has always been the mother of reality. So when every idea becomes very much important, and we will get the development as our paramount, wholesome progress is paramount over any other requirement right now. So look for the brighter side of every positivity, and try to retain everything and to restore tranquility among subjects of Mother Earth. It's our turn now to look for the brighter side of our creativity. And by saying this, I conclude and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Samskruti, for your presentation, presenting in a creative way. So we'll quickly go on to our next participants. We have Nivedita Panda. Are you around? Please, you can, if you're sharing your screen, please do it, and we can start. Nivedita, if you're around.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So again, I'd like to remind our participants, you can already open the PPT right now, and then be ready for our next two participants, so that we don't lose time. Yes, we can see your presentation, please start.
Yes, sir. So, am I audible clearly?
It's a bit, the voice is a bit low, I believe. Can you speak?
Sir, am I audible clearly?
Yes, 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 you are.
So, here is Nivedita Panda. I'm from Kokimo University, Balesur, Odisha. So, today I'm here and I have provided a limited time so I can directly come to the topic. So, today's topic is creativity where science meets spirituality. So, yes. So, first, what is creativity in general? I can, as everyone said about the definition of creativity, so I can say for me, creativity is one of the most important assets that we need very much to survive in this 21st century. Because creativity, for me, creativity is different to everyone, but everyone is creative in their own ways. And today's world of continuous change thrives only on creative individuals. So, if we now discuss about the different types of creativity, in 2009, Kaufman and Vegeto provided the 4C model of creativity, and that 4C model was the big C creativity, pro C creativity, little C creativity, and mini C creativity. So, what is big C creativity? The big C creativity is reserved only to describe the work of an elite of few who have transformed their discipline with their inventions. And some examples of big C creativity is the scientific works such as Einstein's theory of relativity and Darwin's theory of evolution, just like that. And now, if I come to the pro C creativity, the pro C creativity has involved time, usually at least 10 years, and effort to develop some creative things. And then the little C creativity involves a regular practice and may be developed over a long period of time. It is about acting with flexibility, intelligence, and novelty in the everyday basis. Then, if I talk about the mini C creativity happens when a person demonstrates flexibility, intelligence, and novelty in his thinking. And the mini C creativity is the kind of creativity that can be nurtured by the teachers and parents. So, then if we discuss about how this creativity process happen in actual, so the creativity process happens in 5 stages. That 5 stages are preparation phase, incubation phase, insight phase, evaluation phase, and elaboration phase. So, what is the preparation phase? In brief, the preparation phase is a time of goal setting. It involves investigating a chosen field of interest, and in incubation phase, the incubation phase, it may look to an outsider as though you are at rest, but at that time, your mind is at work. Incubation allows your mind to integrate your creative problems with your stored memories and with other thoughts or emotions you might have. So then insight phase or illumination phase is a term for the moment when the solution to a creative problem suddenly becomes readily accessible to your conscious mind. Insight phase is the phase that where you can say that yes, I have found it, I have got it. And then evaluation phase. Evaluation is the purposeful examination of ideas, and then came the elaboration page, which is actually the page where the creativity happens. Then, if I talk about the human creativity, it is exhibited in various ways, as everyone said about that. We can see creativity through art, through literature, through dance, through singing, through mathematics also. So, the example which my father always told about me, because he is a mathematics professor, that Srinivas Ramanujan, that creativity actually happens in mathematics, and spirituality helps in understanding that creativity. As my father always told me about the example of Srinivas Ramanujan, the great Indian mathematician, had once admitted this fact that many of the solutions to his unsolved problems in mathematics he had got in his dream by the grace of the goddess Bhagavati. And to be very specific, Srinivas Ramanujan's formula for the determination of the value of pi is equal to 3.14 has been also proved by the American scientists and to be true for 70 million space of decimals, which is really astonishing. Uh, then, if I give another best example of creativity, it is the example of Isaac Newton. As everyone said this, millions saw the apple fall, but Newton was the only one who asked why, and that's why we are discussing today about Newton. While standing under the shade of an apple tree, Sir Isaac Newton saw that yes, an apple fall to the ground, but no one asked why. He was Isaac Newton who thought that why should that apple always descend perpendicularly to the ground? Newton wondered why should it not go to sideways or upwards, but constantly through the Earth's center. Why? And thus the concept of gravity was born, and that's why we are discussing today about Isaac Newton. So, and according to Newton, that creativity is a process; it is not an event. Then, if I talk about science meets spirituality, particularly about this theme, that yes, science relies on the questions how, what, and why. It is this. It is science that how, what, and why. But spirituality, on the other hand, is wonder. Deepening the mystery of creation is science, and deepening the mystery of the self, deepening the mystery of the soul, deepening the mystery of heart is spirituality. Science and spirituality are like two ways of looking at the creation and creativity. Science cultivates logic and spirituality develops intuition among us, and intuition is the another faculty of creativity. So spiritual life enhances imagination, a creative thinking capacity, and which is the basis of many scientific discoveries or scientific creativity. And the great Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, Sir APJ Abdul Kalam have openly admitted this fact that spirituality has enough role in understanding creativity. And every scientific discovery leads to the realm of spirituality. And if we talk about the various concepts of creativity, as I told earlier, that
Vedita, you can conclude in a minute.
yes, sir. As I told earlier, that everyone is creative, but everyone is creative in their own ways. So, in understanding various concepts of creativity, they vary from class to class, genus to genus, and species to species because everyone is different, but everyone is creative in their own ways. So, creativity for judges, no doubt, is different from those of culprits. Obviously, the concept of creativity vary in cases of mountaineers, explorers, astronauts, and excavators. So the concept of creativity among most of the young are different from that of old ones. For the children, the concept of creativity cannot be attuned with those of adults. So now I think I have to conclude. And in conclusion, I can say that it can be concluded that creativity may be scientific or spiritualistic, but in any form, the creativity is either inbuilt, is built, or spontaneous. That's all. Thank you. I hope you all have enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you so much for your beautiful presentation with slides. It was very attractive. Next, we have Om Shreya Sahu in category 1. Om Shreya, are you around? You can share your screen if you want to.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah, I guess I can see your screen. Yes, your screen is visible. You can maybe make it full screen presentation mode and start. Are you able to do it? So you have to, I think, present, not optimize while presenting. Yeah, from beginning, just. Yes.
So is the screen visible?
Yes, can you move this icons on your screen to somewhere on the corner? There's something in the middle. Yes, you can start now. Yes.
Okay.
Please start.
So, very good afternoon, one and all present here, honorable dignitaries, speakers, and my worthy co-participants. I'm Umshya Sahu. I'm presently pursuing BSc in Botanical Science. First of all, thanks for having me here in this momentous occasion. I'm deeply honored by all the senior authorities of this prestigious institution for the recognition and acknowledgement of my essay. And I'm very grateful to you, sirs. And congratulations to all my fellow participants, the winners. So I'm here today to present my essay. This is indeed a vast topic to be covered in a limited time span. Still, I'll be giving an insight of it in a very precise manner. So to begin, This beautiful world is a magnificent creation of God. God, as a creator, has done a phenomenal job. We cannot think of a better creation. He has already created everything. We just modified those existing materials and make new inventions through our innovation and creativity. The transformation of the primitive man to the modern man has been possible only because of the power of creativity. From the invention of the wheel to conquering the space, the moon, and beyond. Let's now take a look at what creativity is in general. Creativity, an act of creativity, is the manifestation of something new through psychological or cognitive means. Imagination is the first step of the creative process. If one has ideas but he doesn't act on them, he is imaginative but not creative. The great masterpieces in this world are first created in the mind through imagination and then turned into reality. This brings us to the next point, the creativity process. Creativity involves two processes, first thinking and then producing. Numerous parts of the brain are essential for creative thinking, including the frontal cortex, the hippocampus, the basal ganglia, and the white matter. These are considered as the centers of creativity. Then moving on to the types of creativity, creativity is such a phenomenon that can cover almost all human activities like art, science, literature, spirituality, architecture, music, mathematics, and it can be of various types. These are only few of the types which you can see on the screen, like the visual, musical, logical, and so on. Now, the next slide shows creativity in science and spirituality. So, beginning with scientific creativity, scientific creativity involves the ability of correct formulation of research problems through experimental observations and systematic knowledge that requires mastery over the concepts of the field of science. New knowledge can only be generated if you know what has come before. Many old small creations can be used together to create new big creations. For example, the previous inventions like the engine, the wheels, the propellers were used together to invent the massive airplane. Now it's time for spiritual creativity. Spirituality is a belief in something beyond the self, in the supernatural realm beyond this physical world. In spiritual creativity, through meditation, which is inner concentration, we try to contemplate and seek the truth and reality of life, whereby big and profound questions like who am I, what is life, who is God, what is consciousness, and what is the truth of universe, etc. These are explored. And now bringing science and spirituality together when science meets spirituality. Science and spirituality are the two sides of the same coin. Science is the pursuit of truth in the physical world, whereas spirituality is the search of truth in the internal world. Physical scientists spend time in scientific research, and spiritual scientists, the saints, they spend time in spiritual research. The truths unfolded by science are ever changing. As our tools improve, as our world changes, so does the truth. But the spiritual truth is eternal. For example, the theories of the origin and structure of Earth have been changing with time, with the advancement of modern science and technology, but the concepts of soul, salvation, rebirth are everlasting. Science is necessary for our comfort and development, whereas spirituality is necessary for self realization. It is necessary for God realization, to find meaning in life, to achieve inner peace and happiness. Science and spirituality must go hand in hand for enhancing the standards of living and well being. So, in conclusion, I would say that science seeks to enlighten our minds, while spirituality seeks to awaken our hearts. Science and spirituality are just like the two wheels of a vehicle, so there must be a perfect harmony between these two for a smooth journey towards success in all spheres of life. So, with this, I conclude my presentation, and thanks a lot for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was beautiful. Next up, we have Satvati Dash. Are you present here? So please, you can continue if you're around.
Yes, sir, I'm present. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay, sir.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
sir.
Okay. Very good.
So I shall begin with the presentation. Good morning to one and all present.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon to one and all present over here. And as I go on and forth with my presentation, I'm not really sure that I could complete it within the time limit. So please feel free if you get bored of my presentation. So here I go.
Can you put in the presentation mode?
Yes, I'm starting that.
Okay, thanks. You may start.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to all my fellow competitors and everyone who acknowledged my essay. I'm really grateful for that. So, I shall begin with my view on the topic creativity, science meets spirituality. So, first question that we need to answer is, what is creativity? Creativity, what I feel is that it's the influx of ideas and imagination that you get in your mind, and you put it into a form that can have stimulus, or someone can feel it either emotionally or by touch, by sight, or by hearing, and so and such. And this is done for only two purposes. One is because we want to apply creativity in our day-to-day lives and such, because for example, we apply our creativity and create a particular kind of robot which will help us in our household chores. So this is the first purpose of putting creativity into a true form. Second one can be for beauty and bliss, as I have mentioned over here. For instance, if we make a painting, then it is not going to help us to wash our utensils or something. But when we look at the painting, we can have a really positive impact on our mind, and that impact is not stimulus, but something that connects to our psychology. So that is how we find creativity in its true form, and it can be defined in various definitions as spoken by the others. Next off, we have creativity and science. Have you heard of the term serendipity? Serendipity basically means, a chance discovery. So penicillin was a chance discovery. Alexander Fleming was studying, if I remember correctly, the bacterium staphylococci. And while they were growing it on the culture medium, a particular part could not support staphylococci to grow. And when he studied that, he discovered Penicillium notatum. Up until now, everything was just a serendipity. But it was later on that Ernest Chain, Howard Florey, and Alexander Fleming, they discovered the medicinal properties that can be derived, and hence we found this particular penicillin. So this was used on a large scale in World War II for the first time for curing the soldiers. So this is how creativity and science can also be interconnected. Next, we have creativity and mathematics. We have heard of the term axiom, right? Well, axiom in particular means, it's a fact. You cannot just keep a theorem and like you have a theorem and you prove it by a particular process. You cannot do that with axiom. Axiom is a given universal truth. So we use this axiom. For instance, there is an axiom: the whole is greater than the part. So this is a very practical thing. If we take an entire cake, it will obviously be bigger than the slice of it. So this thing to be put in words and be accepted as a universal truth is what involves the process of creativity. Similarly, when we come to Srinivasa Ramanujan, a great mathematician, discovered a number 1729, which is particularly called taxi cab number. It has a very nice story attached to it. Maybe some other time, I do not want to elaborate stuff, but he discovered this number within a short span of time, because everyone knew this number. In fact, the first to mention this number was a person who considered it to be unlucky. But at the same time, Ramanujan said that it is a magic number. Like there's an entire mathematical formulation to that. But to discover that in the spur of the moment was something that involved creativity. Next off, we have, are there any particular types of creativity? Creativity cannot have a type, because we all have creativity on mind, but someone applies it in literature while someone applies it in for some scientific discovery. So creativity doesn't have type, but the aspect or the field in which it is applied has types. So the determining factor for creativity is the mindset of the person and the serenity of the soul from where it gains its existence. For example, a person has a very malignant soul. They will find creative ways on how to install a bomb in a place and cause explosion. While at the same time, a person with a noble mindset They will come up with ideas on how simpler it can be to create a stuff that can detonate the same bomb. So that is how they bifurcate not exactly creativity, but the fields in which it can be applied, and it is the determining factor. Next off, we have how to measure creativity. Interesting question, isn't it? Because for measuring temperature, we have a scale. For measuring distance, we have a scale. But for creativity, there is no such particular scale. So how can you measure this creativity? Creativity can be analyzed on the grounds of how far it has traversed or covered the distance between its origin and you, and how much it has delved into your soul. We have one song, we have another song, we have two songs at our hand, and a person is allowed to listen to both of them. So for a person, the first song may not have much of an impact, but the second song will surely have an impact. For instance, so
Tati, can you please conclude in a minute?
Okay, sir. So that is how we can study that between the origin and you, how far this first song impacted you and the second one, and hence we can conclude what kind of creativity a person had. But this is greatly determined by the perspective of the person, as we will find over here. Listen, the one on the left side is saying that these are 4 sticks, while the one on the right side is saying that these are 3 sticks. It differs, right? That is how the creativity hails from observation of surrounding. Someone observes a particular plot of land and they decide to build a building in that the same place, while someone else decides to build a hut. So it depends on the person how they observe their surroundings. Second is influx of legible ideas. If the person sees that plot of land, it is a plateau, and they expect to create a stream or jharna over it, it's not possible, it's not legible. So the idea needs to be legible without flaws for the creativity to be applied. Third is well-planned application, so that it doesn't fail at a point, and after the entire foundation has been laid, we do not actually find loopholes in it, and that is how you can define creativity in that particular process. Next, we have creativity in music, dance, and architecture. The third picture, for the first one, she is very revered, Lata Mangeshkar ji. Her voice is something that you call true melody. Next is Madhuri Dixit, who's a great actress and dancer. And third is a mandala art that is created by one of my friends. And I'll use it as a reference to understand this concept. That mandala art involves geometric figures that we draw to, understand the art. And this is only creativity put in application, because in dance you choose mudras, in songs you choose words and your melody, and in this particular art form you have chosen the shape through which you want to inscript your ideas into someone's mind who's observing it. This is how creativity is applied in these fields. Next is art and science, and as I told earlier, creativity is all the same, but it differs on the basis in which it is applied. For someone, we can connect it in the way that every person has their own pain, but at the end of the day, they all have that common pain, so they are equal. We have the same creativity. It only differs on the way we apply it, whether in art or whether in science. Lastly, I'll say about spirituality. It is the cognizance or the knowledge of the soul and dissemination of it, because mythologically it is said that our nature is made up of 5 elements: fire, water, air, earth, and soul. And when we decipher the soul, this is what we call spirituality. It is not limited to religion or something. It is something that you try to understand the soul as a whole. Next, we have computers and creativity. For example, we ask Google Assistant to find a place we want to go to. So it is only people who have created these computers, these mechanical programs, so that we can be guided at several steps. So computers in themselves are not creative, but we are the one who influence that creativity in them. At last, science sorts out more practical ways to understand one's soul, while spirituality provides the inception to cognitive pathways to be more accurate scientifically. Creativity enhances the urge to conduct more inquisitive experiments, while science only improves the logistics and analytics in the field of creativity. Spirituality forges more understanding in both of them, and creativity develops the same soul that is connected to spirituality. That is how all these 3 stuffs are connected to each other. Now, there are these references I refer to while making this conclusion. Um, I'd like to thank the sources for which I could come till here. And that's how it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Satvati. It was indeed beautiful. Now we'll move on to because we're running a bit behind our scheduled time. So I'm in a hurry. So I hope it's okay. So we'll go to our second presentation, and I'd like to welcome Shri K. Vasudev Rao, President, Bhaktivedanta Institute, for his presentation. And I'd like to read a short introduction of his. Vasudev Rao ji is an alumnus of the prestigious IIT Kanpur, Computer Science in 1998, and is currently the President of Bhaktivedanta Institute. He is one of the major contributors to Bhaktivedanta Institute publications and also the editor of Bhaktivedanta Institute reputed annual journal Savigyanam, Scientific Exploration for a Spiritual Paradigm. He travels widely across India and abroad, creating awareness regarding the interface of science and spirituality among academics and professional circles. His deep interest is in the foundation of mathematics, the fundamental of computer science and logic, and its relation to the nature of consciousness, nature of reality, as well as ancient Indian text. And that led him to meet and interact with renowned scholars at Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, and MIT. He has delivered numerous talks on computer science and spirituality, and under his able guidance and supervision, more than 10 national conferences, 2 international conferences, and over 100 seminars and workshops on science and spirituality has been organized by the Institute in the past decade, which includes contribution from more than 20 Nobel laureates and world-renowned scholars. In addition, over 200 papers have been published by the Bhaktivedanta Institute. He was a former Global Council trustee of the United Religion Initiative. So with this, I would like to welcome Shri Vasudev Rao ji, please, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Deepankar. Namaste to everyone, to our chief guest, Sri Radha Kumar, and other esteemed participants and students who participated in the competition. And the presentations were all excellent, and we didn't know how the time went by, and all presentations today were very excellent, and we were blessed with the wonderful insights by our Professor Raja Kumar. So my presentation is creativity, role of spirituality, how spirituality can help us in being more creative. These are some ingredients of creativity, like knowledge, memory, imagination, contemplation, happy mind, healthy brain, mind control, determination, higher goal, shraddha, enthusiastic belief, discipline, and hard work, and good luck. Knowledge, how spirituality can help us in knowledge. Knowledge, when I mean knowledge for creativity, in order to be creative, you should be knowledgeable about the premise or the existing conditions. Unless we have sufficient knowledge about the existing conditions, about the problem we're dealing with, we'll not be able to be creative. So in this regard, spirituality can help us. The traditional texts, they have also some relevant portions that help us to think in a different way about the problems that we deal in our profession or in science. For example, the time, concept of time, and age of the universe, measurement of time, music, medicine, etc. And if you see in the history of physics, Indian traditional texts have helped our founding fathers of science in coming up with some creative ideas. And Niels Bohr, he says, I go to Upanishads to ask questions. So Indian texts especially, they are very encouraging the inquisitiveness. They encourage to ask questions. Any text you pick it up, it starts with a question. There is somebody who is an enlightened person, and there are also learned people, also enlightened people who ask questions, because this questioning never stops, even after enlightenment, because for the knowledge is infinite. And Erwin Schrödinger is famous for Schrödinger's wave equation. He openly expressed and written in his books that the ideas in Vedanta, his ideas and theories are heavily influenced by Vedanta. So traditional texts and spiritual texts, they can expand our thinking, what is possible. And memory. Memory is the mother of intelligence. We remember. We need to remember so many things when we deal with the problem. For example, when you are driving, you have to remember so many things. You have to remember the rules of driving. You should remember the signals. You should see who is coming front, back, and then be creative to drive safely. So memory plays a great role in creativity. And spiritual text, we understand that remembrance is not completely within our hands. We study well to go to examination, but what we remember in the examination is not fully under our control. And we learn from spiritual texts that remembrance comes from the Lord in the heart. He has a role to play. Everything is not in our hands. As I said earlier, imagination, it expands our imagination of the influencing factors. For any phenomena, there are so many factors. And our traditional texts, they inform, especially Bhagavad Gita, that there is soul, there is nature, there is time factor, there is action, and finally there is God. So any activity we do, including creativity, these all factors have a role in that. So therefore, when we're thinking about problem, we don't need to think purely physical. We can also go a little bit beyond what is already accepted as a physical. And that's how we have the quantum physics. We have gone a little bit beyond what is considered as physical. So similarly, there are so many realities waiting to be found out or waiting to be established in scientific theories. And one of the such things is the soul or the consciousness. And India, the scientists and philosophers from India have a great role to play in the field of consciousness research. And our texts already have very wonderful models for consciousness research. So our imagination is very important. So adding traditional wisdom, it expands what is possible. For example, a Gödel, you must be knowing the Gödel. At the time, there is a movement to Hilbert, led by Hilbert, to axiomatize everything. There is a concept that mathematics is complete. Everything can be mathematicized and you can discover all the truths. But those who have some background in traditional texts, they know that everything is not mechanistic. There are things beyond. Reality is not comprehension, or consciousness is not just mechanistic. So therefore, Gödel could suspect that mathematics may not be complete, or something beyond mathematics could be there. So while scientists headed by Gödel, they are trying to prove that mathematics is complete, Gödel came up with a theorem that mathematics is incomplete. It is very shocking, but these are the kind of possibilities that can give us confidence to pursue by going through the traditional texts. So coming to the contemplation. So one of the important aspects of creativity is contemplating the possible solutions and doing iterations, mental iterations. So therefore, we need to have mental strength, and spirituality also plays a role here to keep mind healthy and allow it to do mental iterations. Many things, many scientific discoveries, they happen. Some great scientist said he gets many of his great ideas while shaving. I think is Einstein probably. So contemplation doesn't need to stick to our working hours. It can it can extend to throughout our day, and many great discoveries come when we absorb ourselves into a particular problem and engage in contemplation. So when we talk about this contemplation, our spirituality also can help here, because we have a great tradition of meditation, dhyana yoga. If we see Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives some principles for contemplation or meditation, that there is no possibility of once becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So is a connection. We cannot keep our body and habits as we like and hope to have good contemplation. So as our Professor Rajaraman has said, that though these are not the things that cause creativity, but these things will greatly help for creativity. And happy mind is also very important. And for having happy mind, one should be, if one is spiritual, it is more easy to tolerate the ups and downs in one's life, and in that way one can be happy, and a happy mind is the breeding ground for creativity. And about this happiness, our traditional texts talk about different types of happiness, and it is divided into three types: sattva, rajas, and tamas. We are all trying for happiness, but if we get used or get habituated to the happiness and goodness, that is very helpful for creativity. So happiness in the goodness, it is little difficult it is little bit not pleasant in the beginning, but very soon it will be a lasting nectar or happiness. For example, a good student, he may be studying hard. So in the beginning, it is very difficult, but by such study, his life becomes very happy in due course of time. But if somebody just only enjoys while when he is in student life, so that looks very nice, but it is going to end in failures in life, and not very happy ending or a very happy life. So therefore, this is mode of goodness, is to think consequences, think a little bit more beyond. And happiness in passion is that is comes by our senses, immediately available for everybody, that we need, but we should not rely fully on that for our happiness. It is like nectar in the beginning, but it slowly creates problems. So we have to position ourselves in happiness, that is goodness. And in tamas or ignorance, it is blind to self-realization, and it arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion. So you see, some people enjoy sleeping. They love to sleep whole day. Or some people enjoy, many of us also enjoy being lazy. Until the problem is too severe, we just don't deal with it. But that kind of happiness is not very recommended. Or illusion, taking pleasure in things which are not good for us. And then there is working styles. When we are working on a problem, we have different styles to work. Our Bhagavad Gita, they also divides three ways how one works. In the goodness, passion, and ignorance. In goodness, there is great determination, enthusiasm, without false ego, unwavering in success or failure. This is very really important for being creative, because in being creativity, there are 99% failures, one success. But that one success is creativity. So one needs to be in goodness, keep trying. So, but in passion, one is moved by the immediate results. Is moved by joy and sorrow of temporary, intermittent things. But in ignorance, they are not engaged in the useful things, useful works. Their conduct is not very proper, and they engage in not very productive behavior, like insulting others, being lazy, morose, and procrastinating means postponing. So if you want to be creative, you have to work in mode of goodness, means keep trying, never give it up. Things will come. So the determination also is 3 types. In Bhagavad Gita, they are there in 18th chapter. You can read if you like. In goodness, it is unbreakable, sustained by yoga practice, controlled by mind and senses. In passion, it is only for temporary enjoyment, immediate enjoyment. And in ignorance, it is mostly in the dream. We dream of becoming a great person. We become it's about of ignorance. We dream of becoming a big person, doing big things, great things, but there is no action. So that is not the kind of determination. It should not be. We should dream, but if you only remain in the dream, then the determination, if it doesn't come to the implementation, it is not going to be very productive. But how do we get into this sattva, rajas, tamas? This, how do we change ourselves? It can be changed how we work ourselves. That is all about the spirituality. While we do science to change everything around us, spirituality can change us. So it is about science of ourselves. It can change our work, our thinking. It can change our thinking process, our working style, our determination, our purpose. So one of the important things that is mentioned in the spirituality is food. There is a great saying, you are what you eat. So depending on what we eat, that greatly influences which mode our body and mind functions. So therefore, there are foods in goodness. They increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. And they are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. And there are foods in rajas and passion. Rajas means passion, mode of passion. They cause distress, misery, and disease. Sometimes we see people eat so much chili. On one side they're enjoying, on the other side they're suffering. The suffering is immediately there, but still they keep enjoying. But at least there is some little enjoyment is there. They come from too bitter, too sour, too salty, too hot, pungent, dry, and burning. And there are foods in ignorance. Food prepared more than 3 hours before eating. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things. So if we start changing our lifestyle, starting from food, starting from our thinking, reading, and our companions. So if we associate ourselves with people in the mode of goodness and people who are determined, hardworking, creative, so we also become like them. So spirituality can help actually to change us, to change our lifestyles. It has great potential. We have seen how spirituality, if one takes to, he can really change oneself. We have seen in our lives, and also many students, they become disciplined, they become productive, they become serious, and they become responsible to society, family, and the country. So spirituality can help us to change ourselves, which is a great contribution to creativity. And also connect to God, who is one of the great factors in creativity. And then Shraddha. So Shraddha is very important, which is what spirituality teaches us. We have Shraddha, means faith, as well as enthusiasm in certain concept. So it is required both in science, also in spirituality. But sometimes we just discard faith or Shraddha in spirituality as being just sometimes, some scientists. But deep scientists, they acknowledge that there is faith in science also. For example, he is giving an example. I do not see any serious difference in the faith you need to believe in a multiverse and the faith you need to believe in a God who creates it all. So because we have multiverse hypothesis to explain constants of the universe, But that multiverse, another universe, we have not even gone to the edge of this universe. We have no full information. That another universe is only, we can only have some faith, but it doesn't mean that because we don't see, we don't work on it. We'll see so many theories coming out, so many papers published. So creativity can continue if one is enthusiastic about an idea. So that faith is necessary, and spirituality can help greatly in that, having that faith and motivation and enthusiasm. And we definitely need healthy brain, because we need brain to think, mind and brain. Mind needs brain to think in this body. So therefore we need to take care of our brain, which we generally don't. Brain needs good diet, good sleep. You can do yoga and physical exercise and good thoughts. If thoughts are not good, if you disturb, you cannot do any creative work. Of course, we are reminded by our chief guest, but it is still possible, but these are helpful. So we need to take care of good diet, nutrition. Brain needs vitamin B and other minerals, which are missing nowadays in our food. We need to take care of that as well. So we need to take care of healthy, we need to have a healthy brain as well. That we call it as Sumedasha. So if we have good brain substance, then we get very good ideas. And brain cooperates for us to go into extreme thinking. Extreme, we can, just like a good vehicle in good condition, can take us, we can push the limits when we are in some urgency. So similarly, at the creative moments, our thoughts are pushed to limits, our brain is pushed to limit, but all these are possible if we have a healthy brain, which we need to pay attention to also. And then mind control. We have a lot of distractions.
You can conclude in a couple of minutes, please.
In 1 minute?
Maybe 2.
2 minutes, okay. So the mind control, we have spiritual text mostly teaches us how we can free ourselves from distractions. And Bhagavad Gita is a whole process how we get distracted. It starts with contemplation of certain thing which distracts us, and then slowly it grows into attachment, desire, and finally we get distracted. And if you see, in distractions are greatest impediments for our creative work. And we see 31% people internet surfing, noisy co-workers 24%, 23% emails, 42% gossip, 50% cell phone and texting. This is how we get distracted. So therefore, mind control spirituality can help us. And to have a higher goal in life, spirituality inspires to have higher goal, to work for, of course, being personal, being selfish also, you can be creative, but having a higher goal expands our thinking, expands our imagination. And great example is our Professor Abdul Kalam. Higher goals like social service, service to nation, and service to God. And finally, with all this creativity, we have to not only become a professional or a scientist, we also should become a great saint, because ultimately our happiness depends not on comforts, but in the warmth of our relationships with others. So spirituality can help us to spread that warmth around at the workplace, in the classroom, in the research lab, where everybody gets motivated, helped, and supported. So Professor Richard Ernst, Nobel laureate in chemistry, he expressed that Dr. T.D. Singh represents a perfect role model how citizens, and in particular academics, should think, feel, and behave. So therefore, we should be great scientists. At the same time, we should be also saint at heart. And Dr. T.D. Singh used to say, for creativity, 2 things are necessary: hard work and good luck. So hard work is required, but not sufficient. We also need good luck. For that, we need spiritual connection to get good luck. Because good luck comes from, with hard work, we can be creative up to what or we can say in terms of karma, what our karma allows. But if we have good luck, we can go beyond what our karma can allow us. So for that, we need to be a positive person, positive thinking person. So that can take beyond the limits. It can go. There is no sky is the limit for a person who is positive and a good human being at heart and very hardworking. So that is Dr. T.D. Singh's formula. And we have many books of Dr. T.D. Singh. He has written many wonderful books. Especially, I request all the participants to buy this book, 7 Nobel Laureates on Science and Spirituality. He worked very hard to talk to Nobel laureates and bring their ideas out of their minds about this creativity and spirituality. So it's a valuable book. And Tattva Jignasa, we have a student's magazine. It comes every year. And Consciousness, many other books are there. So I invite all of you to delve further, expand your imagination, creativity, with powered by science, spirituality, and by using Dr. T.D. Singh books. They are available at store.beinstitute.org. I once again thank for giving me this opportunity to speak and congratulate all the participants who participated in the essay competition and who have won the prizes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insightful, thoughtful, and very encouraging presentation. So now we move on to our question answer session, and this would be in particular for the whole session, and this question answer would be taken by all of our 3 speakers. So I would like to request our chief guest and also Shri Varun Agarwal ji and Pastor Raji to be present here in this session. And I would request our participants to kindly raise your hand, and then I'll call out the names, and our volunteers will unmute you, and then you can speak. So the questions would be for our so please you can raise your hand from now. The questions could be for our chief guest and our speakers. Yeah. Yes, Sanskruti, you can someone allow her to unmute? Sanskruti, you can ask your question.
Thank you, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, actually, I have the question to all 3 of you. You should give your views on it. Recently, actually, due to the COVID pandemic, we were all in our homes and we didn't come to the educational institution for almost half an year. So actually, the thing is that I have seen at my own home that my little sister, who is actually in class 4 right now, they are actually not getting the physical class advantage, and she's still at home and she's studying online. So actually I have seen her to be very being fickle minded. Actually, when the physical classes were going on, she was quite quick in her approach, but now as she's getting that online mode, she's getting readily distracted. So what kind of situations should be created at home so that she would not get distracted so easily?
Thank you for your question. First, I'd like to go to our chief guest, sir. Can you please throw some light in this?
Yeah, very good question. Yes, this question was there on my mind as well. So when the pandemic, the lockdown was declared in March, at our institution, like IIT Bhubaneswar, we could switch from the classes with physical presence to online without a gap on about 17th of March 2020. Now, when I talk to our students subsequently about their experiences with online education, they rated the online education at 70% of the education with physical presence. So of course, the percentage is arguable, but the point to be noted here is that it's different and certainly lesser than okay, what you gain from classes with physical presence. The big question of how to bridge that gap and take online education towards actually the virtual reality, I mean, to bring in virtual reality and give them an experience of real world is a big task. One of the ways that can be done is if education can be made interactive. Okay, so then that can significantly reduce the other ailments. Certainly, even with physical presence, a teacher may not be so interactive, but a student learns from their peers. The student interacts with the peers, and that learning is certainly an interactive component, if the teacher is not, and that interaction is what is missing. And number two, the direct connect with a student, the connect between a teacher and a student is missing. So therefore, the real the classes that happen in reality with physical presence have all these components which are missing on online. If you ask me as a technocrat how to bridge this, well, certainly we can create a virtual real experience of a classroom, but then still there would be some gap remaining. So by making it more interactive, number one, and by creating further a virtual real experience by online method two, it is possible to some extent bridge the gap, but certainly it cannot replace the actual class.
Thank you, sir, for your views on this. Now I'd like to request our other speakers to please shed some light in this regard.
I think our Professor Rajakumar is the best person to answer this question, and he answered very wonderful. There is very little to add, but I think we should take sometimes not so hard on these things. We should see the situation, also the age of the person. In IITs, they are already in good age to take this little difficulty, because online classes are a difficulty. It takes toll on the mind and attention. Attention capacity is less in the younger ages. So we should be kind to that and allow them, encourage them, but we should also allow them to be not on par with the physical classes. We understand. we don't make online classes unpleasant experience or nightmares, nightmare experience, and because things will pass, everything will pass in life. That we should always remember. In this world, everything is temporary, including difficulties. So good times will come, and when time is not favoring us, we should encourage. We should, but not very hard on them. We should allow them to take as much as they can, especially at younger age. I think that way their personality is not affected while we try to put a lot of education. So I think that is what I would like to add to already excellent thoughts by our Professor Rajaram. Rajakumar. We have a famous professor in ISC.
Yeah.
Please pardon, sir. You want to add?
Yeah, it is good. I think our both of them already gave very good insight. Yes, these circumstances are like that. So we are in this situation, and we can't avoid it. So we are here now in that situation. So as he mentioned, as both of them mentioned, yes, we cannot avoid it. At the same time, also we try our best with the online possibility, but definitely, and we can improve it. But at the same time, still there will be always some gap. So what I can suggest is that physical interaction gap, maybe you have to take care as a sister. So as a sister, you give a time to her because you are very fortunate that you are two together at the home. There are many people who are single actually, and so that's become more difficult. So it is a God's grace that you are two. So when you interact, you will also be helped, and she will also be helped. So you can try to fill that gap with your personal presence, with the love and care. Give time to her, and some part can be done by online. That much we can suggest.
Certainly, the elder sister has a great scope to bridge the gap due to lack of interaction, and that's how she can contribute, certainly. Yes.
Thank you so much for your wonderful insights on this. Yes, next question from Bhavesh Mishra. Please unmute yourself and present your question. Bhavesh.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. My question is, from the last slide, Dr. Vasudev Rao sir showed that in the statement of Dr. T.D. Singh, we need hard work and good luck for creativity. So my question is, as sir said, according to our karma, we can go beyond it if we have good luck. So my question is, sir, can we have some control on our luck, or how can we have good luck?
I think only we have control on our good luck, because good luck is comes when we become positive in life and become good human beings. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned for anything to come true, there are 5 factors: the performer, the surroundings, the instruments, and finally the sanction of the Lord. So that's why I have added this higher purpose. When your purpose is very noble and useful for everybody, and you are a very positive person, then the Lord will go out of way to bring that eureka moment to you, so that Lord also wants to spread goodness in the world. You see, even here and before our eyes, somebody is doing some good work. So many people come forward to give donations, to support. This tendency is always there. And so therefore, this good luck is definitely in our hands. How we conduct ourselves, what our motivations are, what our purpose are. So spirituality will help us to get better good luck, because they always suggest, encourage us to be a noble human being. Of course, everybody suggests that, but spirituality gives us definitive steps, mind analysis, and process how we can become a good human being. So that is the real role of spirituality, because everybody encourages, wants to be good human being, but how to be a good human being? How to get motivation? How to get motivation to become positive towards others and towards society, even while we are undergoing some difficulties? That is a great contribution of spirituality.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. We'll take one last question because we have time constraint, and then we'll move forward. So one last question from Niket. Can you please unmute yourself and keep your question a bit short, please?
Yes, sir. Pranam to all the delegates and teachers present here. So my question regarding spirituality, like second last speaker from first category told that there are some 4 models of spirituality, like 4 C's she explained, and she categorized also like daily activities. If we are good at, then it is a mini categories, then micro category, something else. So, but the last speaker means the first winner told that there is no as such category of spirituality, not spiritual creativity. So, like I'm confused if there is any category of creativity also, like there are 5 elements as she mentioned. So, is there anything like that?
Okay, thank you, Niket, for your question. So maybe if I could frame the question, is there any category for
Thank you, sir.
creativity? And yes, we can go to all our speakers. We can start with our chief guest, sir. Would you like to throw some light in this regard? Professor Rajakumar, sir.
Yes, actually, I have partly listened to the last speaker, and the categorization was detailed. And so, what Vasudev Rao ji categorized, so I am in agreement more with that, certainly. Than what some of the students have presented, but the students have in their own way have highlighted some of the same thing, but then the slide shared by Vasudev Raju was almost full as far as the discussion on the categorization, etc. are concerned.
Yes, thank you, sir. Vasudev Rao, sir, could you please elaborate on this?
I'm not fully grasp the question.
So if I could reframe it in a sentence, Niket is asking, is there any category or some way for creativity, to get creativity? Is there any some criteria? Yeah.
So one I understood is as the categorization of the creativity is that part I have understood. I saw that your slide discussed to a good deal on that.
Thank you, sir. One category I have heard from Varun in his presentation: day science and night science. one is logically come to conclusion certain things. Certainly that is new, right? And because we want many things, we plan many things, but when I count my money in my pocket, I realize I cannot have everything. That is creative thing that I came to know something new. That is logical thing. But night science is something coming from somewhere else, which is a night science. That is kind of category. We are more, I think, talking about creativity, and great research is going on the creativity and the process. So, but to fully grasp, we science is not yet ready to see all the factors, all the players in creativity because of scientific method itself. That scientific method itself, it restricted itself to purely physical. But though theoretical research is not sticking to that, but this creativity, science is right now not fully equipped, but in future, by expanding the scientific method itself and a new science where spirituality given some space for having along the sidelines of theoretical research, I think we will have better understanding and better models for creativity, because support is also required. Spiritual ideas are there, spiritual these things are there, but because they are not fully scientific method, support is not same as the mainstream scientific research. So, and spiritual ideas and spiritual research, they also get sufficient support. I think we'll make more progress, and science spirituality, when they go together. And some developments we are seeing recently, they are very encouraging. The government of India is setting up some centers in IITs and other places to study traditional texts and to Vedic ideas, concepts relevant to science. These are very good and encouraging developments, and we are very thankful and grateful for such initiatives, and they will greatly help us in this direction.
Yes, thank you so much. So I think due to the constraint of time, we might not be able to take all questions, but you can surely email or send us those questions and we'll try to get it answered. But before we move on, I would like to quickly take short feedback of the presentations and the event we had till now from our chief guest, sir. So could you please maybe a couple of minutes on this, on the presentations we have heard, sir?
Certainly, my compliments to the Bhaktivedanta Institute for posing this small challenge to different categories of our students. Such exercises would give the participants a great, encourages participants to be creative and then give their views and make them, first of all, think on this and give their views. I'm very happy with the professionalism shown by all the participants. They behaved very professionally while making the presentation, while making their presentation session ready, and also even when it was taking some time, the way they interacted with you, with the organizers, was very heartening. Possibly the pandemic has made every student, to some extent, technology savvy. And that's what has reflected today, and that's what I have seen. So that is very heartening to see. Hope the entire student community is like that and they have learned these skills. Now, coming to the deliberations of my co-speakers, I think they have extremely well-researched thoughts about the topic, and they have deliberated very well. And it is certainly the credit goes to Bhaktivedanta Institute for this entire session, first of all. And I would also like to express my thanks once again for making me a part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a huge thing that you have been with us for past 2 hours and listening to all the programs and everything. It's really encouraging for us and all of our organizers. Thank you so much. Yes.
We are especially really surprised, sir. You could stay all the program. We are thinking you will be leaving after the prize distribution, but it is really very kind of you. It is very encouraging us because in this pandemic time, doing this kind of event, this kind of organizing this kind of things with the students is very challenging, but your presence is giving us a lot of encouragement and happiness that you are there till the end. And the hard work of all our Bhaktivedanta Institute, Bhubaneswar, our team, they are to be very congratulated, and we all need your blessings, sir.
Thank you so much. Also, if some of our winners from today's from this event would like to say something, their views and feedback in a minute, they are most welcome. If you want, you can please raise your hand. Yes, Satvati Dash, you can unmute yourself and maybe quickly in a minute, you can say something about it, your views.
I'm wishing good afternoon again to everyone. Actually, when I heard that 1 minute warning, I got a bit messed up and maybe I hurried and couldn't actually, interact properly. If someone didn't get my point, for example, when Niket said that people said there are types of creativity and I said there isn't a type, what I meant is creativity can be applied in many fields. And according to that, we can conclude what kind of creativity a person has. We all have creativity in some field or the other. For instance, whenever I am asked that what is my hobby, I always say that anything that involves creativity is my hobby. So and that's what I wanted to say. So if I couldn't actually connect to everyone, which was my motive for this entire presentation, then I'm really sorry about it. I just gave it my best and I hope that I didn't bore anybody with my presentation. That's it. And I'm really happy to interact with everyone. Each of the thing that I heard made me learn something or the other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Satvati, and I'm sorry for intimidating this 1 minute.
Just a small reaction. Certainly, classifications can be done based on different aspects. If you go by the area, so we can also classify them by area. So that is one way. If you go by how the source of the creativity is taken, is it an attempting to solve a problem, or is it by some stimulus? Okay, it can also be classified that way. So classifications in general can be done by different ways, and all of them can be meaningful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So anyone else from our winners would like to say something on the whole program competition, how they feel? Or else, okay. Then maybe Sanskriti, yes. You can unmute yourself.
So I again wish everybody namaskar. Sir, this session was quite interactive and it actually made me learn very much. And actually, I am always inclined to mythological things and the science as well. So that is why it felt very good to know about it. And even actually once the ISKCON institution had conducted a means quiz program, and they used to give those competitions, and in our Navodaya Vidyalayas competitions were held at that time also. That session really means made me interested towards all this type of seminars and these talks, and it was quite interactive also. I was able to means convey my thoughts to all of you, and that made me really proud, and I am very much happy for this opportunity. I thank everyone, the chief guests, the co-speakers, everyone, and all the participants who made me learn something. I am very much thankful to them.
Thank you, Sanskriti. And once again, I would like to thank all of our speakers and our chief guest for giving this wonderful experience of interaction with our participants. So I think we'll now move on with our next event, which is a vote of thanks. And I'd like to...
So let me take leave of all of you, and all the best once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your presence. It has been an honor. Yes. So just give me a moment. Yes, no, so I would like to invite Ritvik, for organizing secretary, Odisha State Student Essay Competition, which is this. So I'd like to request him to deliver his vote of thanks.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. Respected chief guest, distinguished speakers, all the assembled students, scholars, audience, and friends. So on behalf of organizing committee, I would like to thank you all for your participation in this special occasion and encouraging all the winners. The success of event is due to your valuable presence and the hard work of all our dedicated members, as well as our supporters and volunteers. Firstly, we would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable Director of IIT Bhubaneswar, Professor R.V. Rajakumar, for kindly gracing the event and encouraging the young minds with his inspiring words. Next, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the learned speakers, Sri K. Vasudeva Rao, President of Bhaktivedanta Institute, and Sri Varun Agarwal, Director of Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, for their wonderful presentations and insightful thoughts on creativity. We would also like to thank them for being visionary and advisory in driving this competition. Next, we would like to thank all the enthusiastic students who have presented in this competition for their sincere efforts and wonderful essays, which made the competition and seminar a grand success. On behalf of Bhaktivedanta Institute and personally, I would like to congratulate all the winners once again for these outstanding essays. Next, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the judges of the competition, Dr. Hare Krishna Mohanta, Dr. Kalicharan Naik, Dr. Jayanarayan Tudu, Sri Milinder Segar, Sri Siddharth Tiwari, and Sri Dipanka Sharma for their kind suggestions and help in evaluation of the essays. Next, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the volunteers, Sai Vineet, Jagadishwar, Sri Narendra Reddy, Prabhas, Shashank, and Sri Manas Mishra for helping the organizing committee at various ends. We also like to thank all the organizing team for their hard work and all-time support in bringing out this memorable essay competition. Last but not least, we would like to thank all the sponsors, Dr. Kali Charan Naik, Dr. Santosh Tiwari, Dr. A.K. Panda, Dr. S.N. Patel, Mrs. Anula Milinder, Mr. Mrinal Das, Mr. Dipankar Sharma, Mr. Pawan Kumar Chamling, Mr. G. Narendra, Mr. Sai Vinith. Thank you all once again for giving such a nice occasion. Wish you all a blessed weekend and Merry Christmas and advance Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Stay well and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ritvik. Before we conclude, I have an announcement to make. It is about the upcoming conference organized by Bhaktivedanta Institute. It's the 12th edition of All India Science and Spiritual Quest for students. And this time the topics are mathematics and spirituality, evolution in God, physics, chemistry and beyond, environment and spirituality, Vedanta and science, biotechnology, quantum mechanics and consciousness. So it covers a whole lot of topic from different various fields. And we have invited speakers from all over the world, from Harvard University, Professor Martin Novak, there's Professor Hector Rosario from University of Florida, USA, there is Professor Ziral Schroeder from Israel, and all other distinguished speakers from prestigious IITs and other national institutes of India. So this is going to be a very, very insightful and learning experience opportunities for young minds. So it will be held online mode from January 21st to 23rd. It's a weekend, so it's convenient for all of us to join together, have a very learning experience for 3 days. So I would like to request all of you to visit aissq.binstitute.org or contact the numbers which has been given, or you are already in contact with someone in some groups. You can ask for them how to register for this and take full benefit of this. And we'll have exciting sessions, surprise sessions, and I'm sure all of you will definitely enjoy with this. So please visit aissq.binstitute.org and kindly register yourself as soon as possible. Thank you so much for this. Yeah. Please make a note. You can take a screenshot of this window and save it for later reference. Thank you so much. I'll just maybe give you 30 seconds so that you can write down or take a screenshot of the picture of the screen. So meanwhile, I'd like to thank all the participants for being with us till now, and I hope you have had a nice experience, and we look forward to see you in our next events. So I also have one more announcement for you, which is about the books from Bhaktivedanta Institute, the publications of Bhaktivedanta Institute, which I'm going to play now here. And you might make a note of this also. These are very, very interesting and helpful books, which would definitely help for all those who are involved in science and spirituality, or both. Thank you all once again. And now we officially announce the conclusion of this session. Thank you all and have a nice day, nice weekend.